Hi everybody and welcome to the channel. This is Oldmancomputer and my name is Don. So today we are going to be talking about getting yourself set up to do YouTube and video/audio recording. In my first video I talked about how to get yourself ready to build a computer and the types of things I learned about along the way. It's an interesting process building a video like that for the first time, putting it together, editing it, and then putting it out there. However, one of the things I learned along the way is that it's really easy to go over long. So today we're going to do the opposite. We're actually going to try and cut this down significantly, and I'm going to try and tell you what you need to know in 5 minutes or less. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few parts that you're going to need in addition to your computer that will get you sorted out for video and audio or podcasting production. The first USB microphone that I looked at was the Alvoxcon A700, and that is a condenser mic for the computer. It's got a good connection in terms of USB, so it'll plug into basically anything, and it's quite well reviewed both on, for example, Amazon, a marketplace where you can buy it, or on YouTube. You can actually find some microphone reviews where for the amount of money that you're spending, you're really getting a dynamite product. In addition to that, it also comes with a stand, which is quite handy, and it's good for setting up on a small space or a desk, and it's quite portable. An alternative microphone to that would be the Neewer NW700 Professional Studio Broadcasting Recording Condenser Microphone, and basically a stand for it. This comes in a pack, and for about $40 Canadian or 25 to 30 American, you're getting everything you need to set this up on your desk. Again, you're getting a condenser mic with a USB pickup on it, and you're getting a quite good quality product for the money. Both of these microphones are more than enough to get you going at the beginning. The only reason I use a Denali, which is about a $140 microphone, is simply because I already had it and I didn't have to spend extra money to use it. To start recording video, I would just suggest use your cell phone if you have one. Any cell phone that's been produced in the last couple of years is going to be able to shoot 1080p video at 30 and 60 frames per second, and the quality will probably be quite good and at least equal to or potentially better than some of the cameras I looked at instead. However, if you don't have one, then there are a few options at a lower price point that you can use. For cameras, the first one I looked at was the Logitech C920S. You could go with the Logitech Brio 4K, but it's a significant step up in price. And for 1080p video, really the 920S is all you need. It's quite well reviewed. It'll shoot 1080p at 30 frames a second. It's got a privacy screen on it, but it is a webcam. So that means you're going to have to clip it to something, and it's going to basically stay stationary, pretty much stationary at your computer. If you need something to take with you, that's probably going to be more like a Canon HF R800 camcorder, and you can get bundles relatively cheaply. It's a couple $100, and it'll shoot 1080p video at 60 frames a second. It'll come, like some of the bundles will come with an 8 gigabyte card, but they're useless. You're going to have to buy a larger one for any amount of video. So around 270 Canadian or about 200 American. There's also a Canon PowerShot ELPH 360HS that's quite well recommended. It shoots great quality stills. It also shoots 1080p video at 30 frames a second, and it is around 220 Canadian or about 180, 185 American, maybe a little bit cheaper depending on if you can pick it up on sale. And then finally, there's the Apex Cam 4K 16 megapixel Wi-Fi action camera, etc., etc. For $60, a 4K cam is kind of ridiculous. It says it can shoot 4K 30 FPS, 2K 30 FPS. Whether or not that's true or not, you kind of get what you pay for. So while you might be able to get higher image density, you're probably going to have to deal with problems relative to the either quality or stability or basic functionality. It is quite well reviewed though, and some people have put it to good use. For headphones, you really just need something over your ears. Sony puts out some pretty good cheap headphones. I use them for enjoying music, but also in addition to that, I use them to check my audio. So the Sony over-ear MDRZ X110s are about 25 bucks Canadian, probably 20 American. And they don't really have a whole lot of features to them, as you can see here, but they do have good speakers, and ultimately the audio quality is quite nice. If you want to go up a little bit higher spec, you can get the $60 Canadian MDRX B550s. They're basically just a little bit better in terms of quality, but either one will do you quite well. These ones also have a few extra features like a microphone and Android control, but they both work quite well. So the last thing I want to talk about today is the software that you're going to need to do audio and video. The first is Audacity. It's a free, what they call DAW or DAW, and basically what it is it's a multifaceted recording suite. It can do an awful lot of different stuff, but for the most part, all you're going to need it for is to record, potentially split your audio, and to reduce the noise, the background noise in the recording. And that's really all I need it for, and that's all I use it for. So this is Pinnacle Studio 23, which I picked up from Humble Bundle with a bunch of other stuff for less than like $30. And okay, so what just happened? Well, I've been using Pinnacle for a while, and unfortunately, it doesn't work, and so I don't use it anymore. It was crashing nonstop. It was buggy. I tried to update it, and it just would not do what I needed to do. So instead, what I did is I did some research online, and I found a different program that works a lot better. Cyberlink Power Director is quite a bit more streamlined. It's more stable. It's a little bit more expensive, around $100 right now, Canadian, but it is on sale, and it offers a lot of good features that are otherwise not available, or in Pinnacle anyway, were buggy as all get out and just incredibly frustrating. So I dumped the Pinnacle Studio 23 in favor of Cyberlink, and I'm much happier, even though I've only been using Cyberlink for a few days now. I tried it out first because on their website they have a bunch of different promotions where you can try their products for free, and basically it has more to it than the Pinnacle Studio offered, and it also runs a lot better. It's really well reviewed and very highly regarded. So sometimes going for a deal is my default instinct, but unfortunately in this case I got what I paid for, and I had to get rid of it. I got rid of Pinnacle, and I've switched over now to Cyberlink, and it's a much smoother experience. And right now they actually have a nice Black Friday sale going on, so you can actually pick it up for a lot cheaper than you normally would, and that in and of itself I think is worth the price of admission, so to speak. All right, hopefully that was pretty close to the mark. So let's talk about some of the things I learned along the way while making my first video. Number one, video and audio setup. You're going to have to play around a little bit with your camera and your microphone to figure out the ideal placement, focus, and pickup levels. So the volume that you use your microphone at. There's usually like a little volume setter or slider on a microphone, or if not on the microphone itself, then on the computer. And you're going to need to play with those to find the right levels so that you're catching your voice at a good rate or a good place, but you're not picking up a lot of background noise. One of the other things you're going to have to do is train yourself to enunciate and pronounce your words clearly. It's really difficult to do that at first, but as you go and practice a little bit, you'll find it becomes much easier. So I suggest just practicing as you get into it. The next thing I'm going to say is ums and ahs. So you'll hear that from me every now and again. I'm trying my best to get rid of those from my speech when I'm preparing a YouTube video or when I'm speaking on tape. The reason I do that is because it really cuts things up, and it's almost impossible to get them out of your audio and your video after they're in there. You have to either cut too many times or you have to break things up too much, and it just becomes impossible to salvage a cohesive story or scene with those things in them. So my suggestion is take a pause if you can and think of what you're going to say next if you don't already have it in mind, and then you can shorten that pause by editing it, and it won't seem like such a clip or such a cut at that point. Now, excitement. One of the things you're going to see a lot of in videos is excitement. You're going to see a lot of presenters or YouTubers talking really excitedly and waving their hands, and there's going to be bright colors and bright lights and really interesting sets behind them and that type of thing, and they're going to be standing up and talking and walking around, or they're going to be really just going at it with you because they want to focus your attention on it and convince you that what they're talking about is extremely valuable and really interesting, and they also want to be entertaining and funny, and so they dial their personalities up so that they can get that across. And you're going to see a lot of bright colors, like I said. You're going to see a lot of background sets that are interesting, that sort of show off their personalities without necessarily giving away too much about themselves. Generally, they're pretty safe, and they're going to be focused on the community that they're talking to. So you're going to see a lot of video gamers with little figurines or little interesting things in the background that show off their affinity for certain games and certain types of content. Or you might see someone who's focused on audio or cameras. You're going to see a lot of cameras in the background. You're going to see, things that are generally related to the topic of conversation. The last thing I'm going to talk about is fan tuning. So my computer is quite loud. I've got an air-cooled case, and right here and here there are two fans blowing really, really loudly. So I downloaded a program called MSI Control Center, and I tuned those fans to reduce the sound, reduce the RPMs, and reduce the background sound. If I hadn't done that, and actually if you listen to my first video, you could probably hear it. It sounds like a blower is going on in the background. And it's really hard to get rid of that background noise when it's stuck there underlying your voice. It is possible to get rid of some of it and then to play with the audio after the fact, but ultimately, if you just eliminate it beforehand, it gets so much easier and so much better when you're editing your voice. So those are the things I learned. So I hope you found this video entertaining and interesting and otherwise informative. And please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, or alternatively leave comments in below if you think there's other things that need to be mentioned, things that I missed that you certainly are welcome to share with me and with the community. And with luck, I'll see you back next time. All the best, guys. Take care.